Senator Joe Griffo on the line with us right now. Senator, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Giants, Jets, Bills, do you care?
Well, I'm actually, I like the Bills and the Jets more than the Giants, but I'm a Raiders fan.
Wow.
Huh. How'd that happen?
Just growing up. A lot of exciting players during that time. I'll give my age away, but those were the days of Darryl LaMonica and George Blanda and Kenny the Snake Stabler.
Yes.
So there's some great players, but
the Mad Bomber, Darryl LaMonica, to Fred Bolitnikoff, and Warren Wells was the big speedster, I think, too.
You're excellent, Dave. I'm impressed, you know. So, yeah, they were, and then don't forget 00, remember?
Jim Otto. Yep.
Jim Otto. So they were some great teams, and I'm happy to see like even the Mets win last night. I'm a Yankees fan, but I think a Mets-Cubs National League pennant race is going to be kind of exciting to watch now.
Yeah, can't wait for that. It's going to be a great series. Starts tomorrow night at 8 at Citi Field in New York. So looking forward to that. You've got lots going on as well, Senator, with the Vietnam Memorial Highway as well, Route 49.
Yeah, we're going to have a big event. Actually, we're having a presser later today. We're going to be naming in a commemorative way Route 49 ceremonially on the last Monday of the month. I think it's the 26th. In honor of Vietnam veterans. And the idea here is to remember and reflect upon that period and to recognize all these individuals who really didn't have a great welcome home during that period of time. And I think the naming is something that will be a lasting tribute to those who served our nation. And on that day, the 26th, we'll be giving more details as we move on. I think it'll be a chance for them to really feel the appreciation of the community that they and the country that they served.
And I know you want to make aware to the folks out there some of the road closures or some of the traffic patterns that may ensue.
Yeah, actually, Jay, this is going to be interesting because a portion of Route 49 will be closed for about an hour on that Monday, October 26th. You'll be able to, and DOT and the state police will be available to specifically discuss that because I don't want to get into the logistics on traffic and screw anything up here. So they'll give you specific routes and alternative routes that can be taken. You'll still be able to get west and east easily, but it may just take a little more time. And but I think it's an important tribute to those who served our nation, and so that state police and DOT will be definitively marking off where and what will be closed and how you can seek alternative routes. But it'll be during a late morning, so during the period from, say, 9:30 to 11:30.
Senator Joe Griffo joining us on the Talk of the Town, 100.7 FM WUTQ.
And, Senator, it's something else that you've been kind of outspoken about is the Real ID Act. And we finally found out yesterday, and we've been covering it as well, that New York will be getting an extension. But this has been going on for years. Can you tell us a little bit more about it and what people can do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the concerns I had originally was after the terror attacks on September 11th in 2001, the Congress passed a number of pieces of legislation. And one of the elements was this Real ID Act for travel abroad and even domestic flights or entering federal buildings. And it requires a specific type of ID. There are only 5 areas, states or commonwealths or territories of the United States that have not become compliant with the federal Real ID Act. New York is one of those. The concern I had is, number one, the federal government should have did a better job of making sure people understood what the law is, why the law was enacted, and how it will affect people. But more importantly, where I was troubled was here in New York State that the DMV really did nothing. Not only are we non-compliant, but many people in New York State could have been inconvenienced on January 1st if they were going to travel. So, as you know now, traveling, if anybody's done this recently, is not easy anymore when you're trying to get to the airports and with flight delays and all the other issues that you face with the airlines these days. Last thing I want is for a New Yorker trying to get somewhere being told that they don't have the proper identification. Now, I know that the state has been working on elements that could be considered compliant, such as the enhanced driver's license, but there's an additional cost for that. So what I've tried to say is, number one, the state of New York needs to inform our residents, the DMV, what's going to be expected of them. So I'm pleased that the Department of Homeland Security at the federal level has given New York State DMV and the state another year to get our act together here to comply with the federal law. Now I think it's important that the DMV move quickly and ensure that people have enough information, know what will be expected, and I believe have to provide access and an opportunity to get an identification. In this case, I would think it would be the enhanced driver's license, and it shouldn't be at an additional cost to these people because it's going to be a requirement that people are going to need this, particularly here in this hemispheric travel when we're going to Canada and things of that nature. Most people traveling abroad have a passport. I understand that. But this is also something that I think we need to make sure people are informed and have what they're going to need necessary in order to travel without any inconvenience.
And you mentioned on a day-to-day basis, how could this affect us? I know you mentioned entering federal buildings. Would that be the biggest inconvenience on a day-to-day basis, you think?
Possibly. I mean, there are various elements to this that we really need to continue to look into, but one of them would be if you have business at a federal building, then you're going to need the proper identification in order to have access to that federal building. Here it would be the Perny building. I don't believe that would affect the Postal Service, but I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but I do believe it would be, the federal courthouses, things of that nature. Beyond that, it's going to be any air travel that you may be going to, like if you're trying to cross or even get into Canada, for instance. You're going to have proper identification that is compliant with the laws of both countries. So I think we need to do everything now, the DMV, possible to get information as to what will be necessary, what will be required, and then allow people to have the opportunity to gain access to that. For instance, if it is an enhanced license, then we should make them available over the next 10 months to everybody, and we should do, in my opinion, it should not be at a cost to the residents of the state. The difficulty you have in that is people who have already bought it might say, well, we've gotten one and we had to pay for it. How come now everybody's going to get it for anything? So maybe you can work on some credit towards their next license fee or something like that. I'm not sure, but that's why we have a lot of people working at the Department of Motor Vehicles in Albany, and hopefully the Commissioner's office can figure this out.
Senator, whether it's a horrible shooting at a school or this horrific incident that we've all been subjected to in Chadwick's that occurred recently here in our own hometowns, it seems like the perpetrators of these types of crimes leave some sorts of clues. People tend to say, something was wrong. It seems to us like it's beholden to people in the community to say something if something doesn't seem right. What were your impressions of that? What do you think about that?
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the cornerstone of the new doctrine that we have post 9/11, and that is see something, say something, and that has actually helped significantly, even in major areas like New York City. Or if you remember, there was a potential problem on Times Square close to New Year's one year, and it was because some citizens saw something suspicious and reported to police that they were successful in thwarting what could have been a disastrous incident. So I think it's imperative now that people, if you see something, you say something. We do have it's a new world with new technology everywhere, so we talk about it. A lot of times, we said this on the air before, that privacy and technological issues will be to the first half, in my opinion, of the 21st century, with some of the issues that confronted the nation, like civil rights, were to the latter half of the 20th century, because you need to know where we protect your rights, but on the other hand, we need to know what's going on in order to protect our country and our community. So I think between what exists, all the new tools and resources that are available from a technological standpoint to law enforcement, as well as the citizen getting involved and saying this isn't right, I think all of that will help to make a difference. And I think these are horrific and unfortunate situations. I think you did an extraordinary job in many of our local media in covering this event. It's unfortunate. Hopefully now the criminal justice system will unfold and they'll suffer the consequences of their behavior.